Welcome. In this video, we will discuss about how there has been a prediction that the flash droughts in India is going to increase by the end of century. So what is going to be the outline of this video? We will discuss first of all, what do you understand by flash drought? So I have already made a video, and this I would really suggest you guys go ahead and check about the flash flood. So there is also a phenomena related to flash flood, but in this video we will focus on the scenario of flash drought, and we will see what happened, what is the predictability and overall drought condition in India. So this is going to be the outline for this video. I hope you pay attention to this. From the UPSC perspective, the syllabus which is covered over here, so it is part of your GS paper 1, which is related to your geographical phenomena, and also to an extent to GS paper 3 also, which talks about the disaster management. So all this topic is kind of overlapping between GS paper 1 and GS paper 3. So let's start. So what is exactly a flash flood? Now, what is drought? Before that, when we go ahead and discuss about the flash drought, let's just quickly understand what is exactly a drought. So drought is an event of prolonged shortages in the water supply. So in Hindi, you must have heard of the word sukha. So this is what you actually consider the drought, where there is a prolonged. So this is an important concept. It's not like a 1 or two shortage of water supply, but a prolonged shortage of water supply. And in fact, I will really suggest you guys go ahead and check the IMT definitions of drought. So we have agricultural drought, we have hydrological drought, we also have meteorological drought. So in that regard, just go ahead and check how the intensity or how the definition of drought has been defined by the Indian Meteorological Department or IMD. For your basic understanding, just understand that drought is a time when the water shortage is there, like the supply itself, and it could be in the form of atmospheric, like the rainfall is itself very low, or the surface water like the river water stream, they are being dried up, or even the groundwater that is not having the enough water for it to cater to the needs of the people. So that is what is known as the drought. Now flash droughts are droughts that occur very quickly with soil moisture depleting rapidly. So this is what happened. Flash drought means that drought is occurring very rapidly, very frequently. You can see like the drought is happening in a very frequent amount of time. Then this particular phenomena is known as flash drought. Flash drought could occur in weeks and stay on for months. So now this is the thing, like one occur in 1 week and then another in another week, and then they could stay on for months to there. Sub-seasonal to seasonal time period. So like for an example, from sub-seasonal, which like in the mid of some season, to even the seasonal time period, it can extend. Several factors including atmospheric anomalies, anthropogenic greenhouse gas emission play an important role, and in fact that is why the study that we are looking into right now, and that is why this particular thing was in news, says that by the end of century the increase in the flash drought would be there. Why? Because mainly of the anthropogenic reason, where we are increasing the greenhouse gas emission, which have an effect on the aerosol formation. So you must have known how the clouds are formed. So if the aerosols are not acting up, if the rainfall itself is not happening, if we are like there are adverse weather phenomena like your El Nino, La Nina, all these things will have an effect on the drought, and that could eventually lead to the formation of flash drought. So this is something which is important. So I hope you understood what is the meaning of flash drought. It is a drought which happened very quickly. That's just remember. And what is drought? Prolonged period of shortage of water supply. So this is something, two things you should remember. Now let's just move ahead and see, why do flash drought occur in India? Why India have witnessed flash drought? So a considerably long dry spell with significantly low precipitation anomalies during the monsoon result in the increase in air temperature. So what happened? We know that India lies between tropics. So there is also a thing of increase in temperature. In fact, the northern India get very heated up. So increase in temperature is there, and then whenever there is a shortage of precipitation, it could lead to the drought-like condition. Increased air temperature and precipitation deficit together cause a rapid depletion of soil moisture, leading to flash drought. So think about it, the temperature is increasing, right? So whatever the moisture the soil was holding, it is evaporating. At the same time, there is no precipitation coming down. So these two factors combined together is what leads to the flash drought. Therefore, flash droughts in the monsoon season are primarily caused by the monsoon break. So we know that there are a period in the monsoon season itself where there is no rainfall. They are known as the monsoon break. So during the monsoon break, the occurrence of flash drought happen. However, flash drought can also occur due to delayed onset of monsoon itself. So again, when the monsoon onset, which is like the first time when the monsoon is causing the rainfall, if that itself is delayed, it can also lead to flash drought. So these are the condition. What are the condition because of which flash drought happens? So just remember, increase in air temperature. So this is the reason, increase in air temperature coincided with the rainfall deficit or precipitation deficit plus precipitation deficit. These two factors combined together leads to the formation of the flash drought. So just remember these 2 points. Okay. Now let's move ahead and try to see what is the impact. Now the flash drought when happen, what is the impact you can expect for the farmers community, for the other society in general, what is the impact? So precipitation deficit and lack of soil moisture during a flash drought can lead to reduction in the yield of rice and maize. So this is what exactly happened. There is a reduction in the yield of rice and maize. So the farmer who are cultivating rice and maize will not have good production or will not have good harvest, and that could have further impact over their capability and could harm them. More than 20% of median area under rice and maize cultivation are affected by flash drought during 1951 to 2018 monsoon. So you can see for a period of almost 60-70 years, we can say 20% area has been affected by the flash drought. In 1979, a large part of rice cultivated region of the Indo-Gangetic Plain. So we know that rice is prominently along with the coast is also grown in the Indo-Gangetic Plain after the Green Revolution. So and eastern India was severely affected, and in 1982 the flash drought during the monsoon season was widespread and affected the eastern and northeastern regions. So this is like 1979, 1982. These regions actually have a very bad experience with the rice crop, and they were severely hampered and impacted. The paper which we were discussing right now, the one which predict that going forward by the end of century, the flash drought impact would be more or the frequency will be more. The same paper found that all India level flash drought occurred during the monsoon season of 1979, 2001, 1978, 1986. Except one, all the other major flash drought occur in the mid to late monsoon season. So now this is one inference that they have drawn, that basically you can see that flash drought coincide with the late monsoon season, which is also like when the monsoon break is happening. The top 5 flash droughts based on the overall severity score occurred in 1979, followed by 2009, 51, 86 and 2005. So 2000 and 1979 was the one when the flash drought was most severe. So just remember this part. So if you are writing about the flash drought, you can just quote 1 year, that is like 1979, where it impacted a lot. What you have to understand from here is that the rice and maize cultivation gets severely impacted when there is a flash drought. Now let's move forward and try to understand how the patterns are changing. So more than 75% of the districts in India are hotspot for extreme climate events such as cyclone, flood, drought, heat waves and cold waves. Now this is something very worrying thing for India, that India is a country which will be severely affected by the extreme event. So we have first of all, our geographic length and breadth is such that we have variety of issues, like we are also cyclone prone, we also get drought, flood, cold wave, heat wave. So we are the country which is severely affected by the extreme event. So according to this study, nearly average of drought affected district increased 13 times after 2005. Now this is an important data for you to remember that from 2005 onwards there has been increase of like 13 times. The occurrence of drought has increased in the country. And there is also, if you like look at this graph over here, there is also a changing pattern. So what is this map is actually saying that the map depicts the flood prone districts which turn to drought prone and vice versa. Now this is very interesting. You must have heard that the uh, desert area of Rajasthan was being like there are cases of floods over here. On the other hand, the flood prone area like the one near the coastal areas or in the Odisha and all these are getting drought prone. So you can understand there is a shift from there also, from the flood prone to the drought prone area, and this changing is going to affect. Now why this is going to affect is because you have to understand that the infrastructure which was developed over there was mostly in the drought prone area was to do away with the exigency of drought but not for the flood. So such kind of things also create problem for the disaster management if that occurs. So this is again something the policy maker has to keep an eye on. So this is again what is happening, the changing pattern. Now let's move forward and see what are the major issues, like why like measuring and handling droughts become such a problem. So there is a very important reason why that's happened, because the beginning and end of drought is very difficult to determine. Like for an example, in case of cyclone, earthquake or any other kind of disaster, you could very clearly mark the early phase and the late phase. But such is not the case. You cannot have a definitive end and the beginning of a drought. Duration of the drought may range from months to year. Now this is also a problem. Like you cannot predict that okay, if there is a drought it will exist only for this particular time and then it will go away. Again there is a lot of variation. No single indicator can identify the onset and severity and its impact. That's why I told you IMD also has various definition of drought. So again there is not a single factor you can take into consideration while predicting the drought. Impact of drought across various spheres are difficult to quantify, and they usually magnify when events continue through the season for longer duration. For an example, there is also a case of social drought where what happened, even with the shortage of water, there is a cost which the society as a whole also has to pay. Like the people will not be getting the tap water, there will be queues over there. All these things will also have to consider. So that is why the overall impact cannot be quantified in case of drought. So this is why it becomes more difficult to actually have better predictability system for drought or better mitigation system for drought. But even then there are certain things which could be done. What are those? So periodic review of water shortage. So this will actually help to have a kind of a question that if there is a water shortage we could do something to replenish it. So periodic review. Then crop diversification, so that the water scarcity or the soil moisture is could be maintained. So crop diversification could help over there. Locating groundwater resources using satellite technology and remote sensing. Again, better method of figuring out where the groundwater or the aquifers are. Adoption of micro irrigation, so that drip irrigation for an example will help in removing the wastage of water and at the same time provide enough water for the plant. Promotion of water storage, conservation and rejuvenation like the rain harvesting methods. So all these things will help in storing the water at the time of drought. Construction of farm ponds, again this will help in conserving water as well as providing the fisheries sector a boost. Crop insurance against drought. This is something again which is covered under the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. So again, these kind of things will definitely help the farmers to take care at the exigency of drought. Promotion of alternate livelihood like dairy, poultry and beekeeping. Again, this will give some kind of cushion to the farmers so that they could not solely rely on farming, but daily poultry and beekeeping could keep them floating during the time of drought. Availing crop advisories to farms with focus on efficient use of water, so that water shortage could be tackled and more intelligent use of water is done. Compulsory rainwater harvesting in urban areas. So not only in the rural area, not only in the ponds, but the overall in the urban areas, that rooftop rainwater harvesting should be promoted. So these are the things which will eventually help to reduce or mitigate the impact of drought. So these are the things that you need to take into consideration. Again, this is something you can write if the question is about the impact of drought. This is something you can write in the conclusion. So I hope you have understood this video. This topic is important from your GS paper 3, GS paper 1 perspective. So try to get an overall picture. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have any doubt, feel free to drop a comment. Thank you.